Okay, so I want to be out there digging, but of course I can't because it's a snowstorm, as always in Canada, joys of having winter. So what we're going to do today is, this is a video for the new people. A lot of the, vets are going to think, this is stupid, but this could help someone. So what we're going to do is I'm going to feature two different detectorists on this episode, and just something that they do for research purposes that I think is really cool. One of them is Steve Zazula, my good friend. He's also a detectspert from Mine Lab. Arguably the best dive detector in the world, although he'll deny that, but he finds incredible stuff. He's got a cool method of how he finds old spots. It's really neat. So I'm going to touch on that and show you his secret and trick. With his permission, I asked Steve, so I wouldn't do that to him otherwise unless he said it was okay. And then my other buddy from Historical Diggers, Lee Dowdy. If you don't know who he is, he finds some awesome Civil War stuff. And the way he finds cool Civil War stuff is he actually reads old soldier letters. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to show a clip of Lee and how he does his thing while I'm kind of describing what he's doing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you how I do it traditionally with Pop Can Dan. I should say, if you're trying to find a spot to dig and you do find an old spot, make sure you have permission from the current owner. I don't ever condone going on a spot that you do not have permission for. Makes us all look stupid, so don't do it. So let's get into it. Are seeing here, this is actually a view of Yonge Street in 1892. Yonge Street's in Toronto. It's a famous street, very well known, one of the most busy streets there. So what you're seeing is the building on the left was the office of the Bank of Montreal. It was completed in the mid-80s, and during a period when rival banks were vying to put up the most impressive structure in the city's thriving commercial center. So the bank's interior featured a 2-story high banking hall that's still capped by a stained glass dome window. So what you can see here in these pictures listed is this is actually a classroom which is in a Toronto public school in the 1880s. You can see on the left side here, you can see the young children mixing it along, and on the right side you can see what was the all-boys sector of the school. So what you're seeing here is this is a map overlay system. So this is an 1860s map. And what I'm doing is I'm overlaying a location based on all the lines and contours. So back then, the street names were actually not what they are today usually. They were concessions. So what I'm doing here is I'm just showing you how to overlay the map system. And if you have, what I use is Adobe Photoshop, obviously. But if you have Adobe Photoshop, what you can do is if you copy and paste the layers and such, you can use an opacity, and you can lower down the opacity of the new layer kind of thing. So this is ideal for if you can overlay maps. If you can't, you can reference maps, say on your phone or tablet or computer, and reference the map by looking at that and then looking at the old maps that you have. Old maps are accessible. You can get them at the library. Sometimes McGill University has them online. This is for, of course, Canada. I know there's tons of map resources for the States as well. So here's what Steve Zazula does. Now Steve, as you know, Steve goes to a lot of old like swimming holes and stuff. So Steve what he does is he actually uses a site called CardCow. So CardCow, it's pretty neat. I'm not familiar. I don't use it, but Steve, it's allowed him to find out where a lot of old swimming holes were and stuff like that. So basically, CardCow has old postcards. So what he does is he reads old postcards and stuff and says, you know, I'm at this swimming hole in this location or that location. It's a genius thing. Playing a clip of Steve right now, hopefully here. Just some of the stuff he finds is remarkable. As I said, a good friend of mine, and arguably, in my opinion, probably the best dive detectorist in the world. Personal opinion. Now, let's check out Lee here. Lee, he does something similar. As I said, Lee does a lot of Civil War stuff and that, and finds some incredible things as well. Lee actually reads old soldier letters. So letters that soldiers would have written to their family, and he's actually found locations that have been described in letters and stuff, from soldiers to their loved ones and such. These are all things you can do. It's not always just, you know, digging local parks. When I started out, I dug public parks for about the first 2 years until I actually started doing my own research and stuff. So you got to start somewhere. Public parks, there's nothing wrong with digging them. There is some old ones. But, you know, it's always nice to be able to dig your own permission. And in that sense, if you can find something that relates to the original family owner and return it to the new owner, or, you know, the long lost relative, that's cool. I've been able to do that a lot too, so that's really neat. So again, there's always different resources. You know, use your local library. Check out old history books and stuff. Some of the pictures you were seeing earlier on in the video, that's actually from this book. This book is, the text in it's by Peter C. Newman. And the photographs are by Peter Christopher. Peter C. Newman actually has, I've got this signed by him, but this is a great resource, you know, because like I said, those photos are from the 1890s. So this is Canada 1892, and it's showing, you know, old locations, or some of the locations in there are actually still standing, which is really cool. So don't limit yourself. This is a great way to find potential gold mine spots, and this is how it's done. This is how you research. Visit your local library, check out old maps, overlay them, you know, go to CardCow if that's what you're into, which works for Steve obviously. You know, read old letters. And another thing that people tend not to do as much, but I really tend to do this, and so does Popcan Dan, is talk to senior citizens that have been around the city for a long time. Invaluable resources. In this article I have in American Digger magazine in March, it comes out, it touches on that, because, you know, there was a spot that I'd been digging for a while, and the old map actually had a different location for the home, and this was either a home that was a little earlier or another home that wasn't quite registered or something like that, or, you know, built right after the other one. I don't know the exact details, but by talking to a local, I was able to find some amazing stuff based on their information. So again, it's research. Research pays off. You don't always have to dig public parks. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but hopefully this helped you. Now, what is your resource? If you're an experienced detectorist, or, you know, you have something that I might not have mentioned, talk about it below. Fire it off in the comments. I want to hear what you do. You know, let's try to help each other out here. It's not about bashing on the newbies, or, oh, why are you teaching them our secrets? You know, let's help everybody out. We don't need to be like that. We're a good community. Let's keep it that way. Let's stop the bullying. Stay together. Till next time.
And from the antique store, yard sales, or whatever, let's flip this over. On the back, it gives you all the information, every bit of it. Then I'll run a genealogy test on them and see where they're located. All right. So if it says bottom of northwest Georgia, then I'll come down here, and you can see all these little, these are names in here. There we go. We'll focus now. So those are names that you see. Those are last names. So this is like an 1855 map round in there. So that's the map that I use personally. I'll go slow, that way you can see the names. See the names? Well, and all you have to do is match these names, and you can find her house. 1888 to 1918. Or you come up here. So these old photos that I buy are very well worth the money, because in these old home sites you can find some good stuff. I don't know who that guy is, eh? Like, just boom. Was that an old home site? Everybody has a different method, but this is my method, and this is what I use. This is actually a Civil War map from Georgia, from Tennessee down to Georgia. And as you can see, what I've done was I highlighted all